No one tells you that aging doesn't always arrive with a warning. It slips quietly into the everyday, not in dramatic moments, but in the smallest details. One day you find yourself pausing mid-conversation, the name of a neighbor hovering just out of reach. Another day you notice that a task you've done 1,000 times leaves you more tired than you expected. These moments don't scream. They whisper. And those whispers make you wonder if you're beginning to lose parts of yourself. But what if these moments aren't signals of loss, but invitations? Invitations to step into a new rhythm, to listen more carefully to what your body and mind are asking of you. Elena, at 67, knows this well. She was once the kind of woman who filled her calendar with lunches, walks, and travel plans. Her life was a steady current of movement and laughter. But now she notices subtle interruptions, small cracks in the rhythm she once took for granted. She forgets familiar details, feels an unexpected wave of exhaustion halfway through the day, and sometimes wonders if her independence is slipping away piece by piece. Here's the truth that few speak out loud. Aging doesn't come with a manual. It doesn't announce itself politely. It shows up in fragments, in little shifts that test your patience and your confidence. And yet, inside those moments lies a choice. You can see them as signs of decline, or you can see them as signals guiding you toward a wiser, more intentional way of living. We often believe strength means resisting change, pushing through as if nothing has shifted. But real strength is the humility to adapt, the courage to create new systems, and the wisdom to let go of what no longer serves us. Elena's story is not one of defeat. It's a story of transition. A reminder that life's value is not measured by how much we hold on, but by how gracefully we learn to navigate the seasons we are given. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you noticed one of those whispers, the forgotten detail, the sudden tiredness, the quiet frustration? Did you see it as proof of weakness, or as a call to pay closer attention? Because maybe aging isn't taking from you at all. Maybe it's teaching you to live more deliberately, to choose presence over perfection, to embrace a new kind of freedom. This is not the end of vitality. It is the beginning of a deeper one. And if you're willing to listen to what aging is quietly asking of you, you'll find it's not about losing yourself, but about discovering a version of you that's more aware, more intentional, and perhaps more alive than ever before. Most of us were taught the same rule when it comes to health. Drink plenty of water. It seemed simple enough, but what no one explained is that as the body ages, the rule book changes. The same routines that once worked effortlessly now leave us restless at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep slips through our fingers. Carl from Phoenix discovered this in a way that left him frustrated and defeated. For 3 years he rose 5 times each night, trudging in the dark toward the bathroom, convinced his bladder had become his greatest enemy. He tried cutting off water in the afternoon, believing less would mean more rest. But it didn't. His exhaustion grew, and the joy he once carried in the mornings faded into heaviness. Then he learned something that changed everything. Not a new pill, not a complicated ritual, just a different rhythm for drinking water, what doctors call the 2-4-6 rule. 2 glasses before 10 in the morning, 4 glasses evenly spaced between 10 and 4, and no more than 6 ounces after 6 in the evening. It wasn't about drinking less. It was about listening to the body's clock, a clock that most of us never knew was ticking so loudly. You see, after 60, the kidneys lose nearly 1/3 of their efficiency. They no longer move fluid as quickly as they once did, which means timing matters more than quantity. By morning, they are ready to work. By evening, they are slowing down, preparing the body for rest. When we ignore that rhythm, when we flood our system late in the day, we set ourselves up for restless nights. Carl resisted at first. Could something so ordinary as shifting the hours of a glass of water really undo years of broken sleep? But within a week, his nights began to change. From 5 bathroom trips to 3. From 3 down to 1. And then, almost unbelievably, nights where he slept nearly undisturbed. His mornings were brighter. His wife said she could see his smile return. And for the first time in years, he felt like he wasn't losing the battle with his own body. The truth is, life after 60 is not about adding more effort. It's about learning the language of your body and aligning with it instead of resisting it. The 246 rule is not just hydration advice. It's a symbol of a larger truth, that thriving in this season of life requires structure, not stubbornness. Think about how many of us treat water like an afterthought, gulping it down sporadically, ignoring the signals of the body. We either drink too much, too late, or too little out of fear. Both choices betray the very system we're trying to support. The body doesn't need more struggle. It needs partnership. This is the invitation aging offers us, not to fight the changes, but to walk with them, to understand that the rhythm of the body has shifted, and to honor that shift instead of pretending it hasn't happened. Carl's story is not unique. Thousands who adopted the 246 rule discovered that their nights were not lost causes. They found rest again. And with that rest came energy, clarity, and a new sense of possibility. Because let's be honest, when you wake up after hours of deep, uninterrupted sleep, the world feels different. Your steps are lighter, your mind is sharper, your patience is longer. You begin to believe again that life has more to give. The 246 rule teaches us that small adjustments can carry extraordinary power, that honoring your body's natural rhythm is not a limitation, but a liberation. That wisdom in aging is not about holding on to the old way, but about discovering a better way for the season you are in now. So tomorrow morning, pour those 2 glasses. Drink them before the day takes hold of your attention. Spread 4 more across the hours when your body is ready to handle them. And when evening comes, give yourself the gift of restraint. Because in that simple act, you're doing more than managing water. You're choosing alignment. You're choosing rest. And perhaps you're choosing to rediscover the life you thought you had lost. Most people assume that sleepless nights are an unavoidable part of aging. They point to the body, to a weakening bladder, to stress. But rarely do they look inside the small bottles lying neatly in their medicine cabinet. And yet, those bottles may hold the very reason why the night feels so long. Ruth, a 74-year-old from Denver, knew this struggle well. She had already embraced the 246 hydration rhythm. She drank when her kidneys were ready, cut off water after 6, and even adjusted her evening habits. But still she found herself waking 4 times a night. Frustrated, she began to wonder if she was destined to live in fragments of sleep. Her daughter suggested something simple, something Ruth had never considered. Track everything, not just her meals or her water intake, but her medications. And as Ruth wrote it down, the truth became startlingly clear. Each night at 7, she took her blood pressure pill, a pill her doctor assured her would keep her healthy. What she didn't realize was that the pill, though helpful for her heart, quietly acted as a diuretic. It encouraged her body to flush fluids long after she had closed her eyes. This is the part no one tells you. Many of the medications seniors take: blood pressure pills, beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, are not only regulating health but also shifting the rhythm of your body. Taken at night, they become invisible alarms, pulling you from rest again and again, not because your bladder has failed, but because your timing has. Ruth spoke to her doctor, nervous but hopeful. Could she move the pill to the morning instead? The answer surprised her. Yes. Most of these medications work for 24 hours. Their effect doesn't weaken if taken with breakfast instead of dinner. And so she tried. Within a week, her bathroom trips fell from 4 to 1. Her blood pressure stayed steady. Her nights grew peaceful again. The lesson is profound. Sometimes the battle isn't about what you're taking in, but when you're taking it. We think of medication as static, a non-negotiable routine, but timing is as powerful as dosage. It can decide whether your nights are broken or whole. And here is the deeper truth. This isn't only about pills. It's about awareness, about refusing to live on autopilot, about daring to ask, is this habit still serving me, or is it quietly stealing from me? Too often we accept our exhaustion as inevitable, when in reality it is optional. All it takes is the courage to question, to notice, to speak up. Ruth's doctor admitted something important. He had seen this before. He had started asking all his senior patients not only what they took, but when they took it. Because sometimes the greatest transformation doesn't come from adding another pill, but from changing the rhythm of the ones you already have. Think about your own life. Where have you accepted struggle as unchangeable? Where have you told yourself, this is just the way it is? What if the solution has been waiting quietly in the details, in the timing, in the choices too small to notice? Ruth's story reminds us that freedom is rarely about doing more. It is about doing what you already do with greater intention. She didn't add new rules. She didn't overhaul her life. She simply shifted a habit she had trusted for years. And in that small shift, she found nights filled with rest, mornings filled with energy, and a heart filled with hope. So ask yourself today, what hidden hand in your routine might be shaping your nights? What quiet detail is asking to be seen? Because sometimes, the greatest victories come not from fighting harder, but from aligning wiser. We often believe that sleep is a battle fought inside our bodies with our bladders, our minds, our energy. But the truth is, sometimes the real battle is fought in the room where we lay our heads. The air you breathe, the warmth of your blankets, the temperature of the night, these quiet details can either cradle you into deep rest or keep you trapped in a cycle of wakefulness. Samuel from Minnesota had already embraced every change he could think of. He drank water by the 246 rhythm. He moved his medications to the morning. He paced his evenings with discipline. Yet every night he still woke 3 times. It felt unfair. He had done everything right, and still his body refused to cooperate. Then his grandson, a medical student, shared something Samuel had never imagined mattered: bedroom temperature. At first, Samuel brushed it off. How could a thermostat decide whether he slept through the night? But the science was clear. When the room is too warm, the body struggles to cool itself. That extra work sends false urgency signals to the bladder, making you believe you need the bathroom when you don't. Too cold, and the muscles contract, including the bladder, again, convincing your mind it's time to get up. Samuel and his wife liked their bedroom cozy, often at 78 degrees. But research showed the optimal range was far lower, between 68 and 72 degrees. Reluctantly, they lowered the thermostat to 70, adding an extra blanket for comfort. The difference stunned them. The first night, Samuel went from 3 bathroom trips to 2. Within a week, he was down to 1. By the second week, there were nights he didn't wake at all. But it wasn't just fewer bathroom trips. Samuel noticed he felt more rested even on the mornings he still got up once. His wife admitted she was sleeping better too because she wasn't woken by his movements. What seemed like a trivial adjustment had become a gateway to peace. Here's the truth. The body was designed to cool down at night as part of the natural sleep cycle. When we sleep in rooms too warm, we're fighting against our own biology. Our energy, instead of fueling restoration, is wasted on cooling. And when the body spends its strength fighting, it has little left for deep, restorative rest. This is more than science. It's a metaphor for how we live. How often do we ignore the small adjustments that could change everything, insisting on doing things the way we always have. We keep the room warm because it feels comfortable, but comfort in the moment is often the enemy of renewal in the long run. Samuel learned that transformation doesn't always come from grand gestures. Sometimes it's as ordinary as a dial on the wall. He realized his environment was shaping his nights as much as his choices were. And in reshaping his environment, he gave his body the chance to do what it was designed to do: rest deeply. So I ask you, what is the temperature of your room? Not just the number on a thermostat, but the atmosphere of your life. Is it aligned with what your body needs, or is it quietly stealing your peace? Practical changes helped Samuel. A programmable thermostat that cooled only the bedroom at night, saving costs. Breathable bedding that allowed comfort without overheating. A ceiling fan to keep the air moving. Small shifts, but together they created an environment of rest. The deeper lesson is simple. You can't always control what happens inside your body, but you can choose the conditions you place it in, and those conditions matter. They either support your journey toward rest or sabotage it in silence. Samuel's story teaches us that peace often hides in the ordinary. The difference between waking weary and waking renewed may be just a few degrees. And when you honor the rhythms your body was created for, you discover that rest is not a lost dream. It's a reality waiting for you, right in your own room. Most of us think food is about flavor, about nourishment, about sharing moments around a table. But what if I told you that dinner, not the food itself, but the timing of it, could be one of the biggest reasons your nights are restless? Linda, a lively woman from Texas, loved her evenings. Dinner parties with friends, late meals filled with laughter, conversations stretching long into the night. It was her way of staying connected, of keeping life full and joyful. But when the lights went out, her joy faded into frustration. No matter how carefully she managed her water or medication, she was still waking up 3 or 4 times a night. Then she learned something she had never considered. It wasn't just what she ate, it was when she ate. Doctors call it the 3-hour rule. Finish your last meal at least 3 hours before going to bed. At first, it sounded impossible. Could a simple shift in timing really hold that much power? The science explains why. When you eat late, your body diverts blood flow and energy into digestion. That process ramps up fluid production, sending more signals to the kidneys just as they should be slowing down. Add to that the fact that you're lying flat, no longer helped by gravity, and you've created the perfect storm for nighttime urgency. Linda decided to try. She moved her dinners earlier, finishing by 6:30 p.m. She worried at first. Would she feel left out at gatherings? Would she go to bed hungry? But she found creative solutions. A hearty late lunch at 3 in the afternoon, lighter dinners earlier in the evening. And when she still wanted to join friends for a late meal, she ate a small snack beforehand and focused less on the food, more on the conversation. The results surprised even her. Within 1 week, her bathroom trips dropped from 4 to 2. Within 3 weeks, there were nights she didn't wake up at all. But the benefits went far beyond fewer trips. Her digestion improved, her acid reflux disappeared, she lost weight without even trying, and perhaps most importantly, her mornings returned. She woke refreshed, energized, and ready to live instead of dragging through another day. Her doctor explained what she was experiencing. By giving her digestive system time to finish its work before bed, Linda allowed her body to transition into true restorative sleep. Instead of juggling digestion and kidney function all night, her system finally found peace. But here's the deeper lesson. This wasn't only about digestion. It was about discipline. Linda had to choose between temporary comfort and long-term freedom. At first, she feared she'd lose too much by eating earlier. But what she gained far outweighed what she gave up. She discovered that the joy of community didn't live in the food itself, but in the laughter, the listening, the presence she brought to those moments. And that's the invitation aging offers. To shift our focus from what used to be the center of our routines to what truly matters now. To realize that letting go of one habit isn't losing life, it's creating space for a better one. So I ask you, what would it mean for you to honor the 3-hour rule? To allow your body the time it needs to rest fully? How different would your mornings feel if your nights were no longer broken? Linda's story reminds us that aging doesn't demand we stop living. It invites us to live differently, with intention. Timing your dinner isn't about restriction. It's about reclaiming freedom. The freedom to wake refreshed, to greet the day with strength, to live the life you still long for. Because sometimes, the path to a peaceful night isn't found in a new medication or a complex ritual. Sometimes it's found in something as simple and as powerful as finishing dinner a little earlier. Walter from Ohio had reached a point where nights felt endless. He was waking 6 or 7 times, his body restless, his mind exhausted, and his days weighed down with fatigue. He had tried cutting water, adjusting dinner, even new medications, but nothing seemed to change, until one morning he decided to approach it differently. Not with more effort, but with more intention. He set a small kitchen timer, not as a gimmick, but as a guide. That timer became the heartbeat of a new rhythm. In the morning, it reminded him to drink when his kidneys were ready. In the afternoon, it kept him consistent with steady hydration. In the evening, it signaled restraint, giving his body space to prepare for rest. Combined with earlier dinners, a cooler room, and the shift in medication timing, the timer turned good intentions into habits his body could trust. Within 3 days, Walter experienced what he thought he had lost forever: a full night of sleep. What he discovered is the secret many overlook. Transformation rarely comes from one single change. It comes from alignment. The 246 rule gave his body structure. Moving medication to the morning removed hidden triggers. Cooling the bedroom created an environment for rest. Eating dinner earlier lightened the burden on his system. And the timer tied it all together, ensuring consistency when old habits tried to return. But here is the real victory. Walter did not just reclaim his nights. He reclaimed his life. His memory sharpened. His energy returned. His patience grew. His wife said she could see the man she had once known. And Walter himself began to believe again that his best days were not behind him, but still ahead. This is the deeper truth about aging. It is not about surrendering to decline. It is about learning the new language of your body and honoring it with intention. The small decisions you make each day can either keep you trapped in cycles of fatigue or open the door to renewal. Consistency, not perfection, is what builds the life you long for. Edith, at 89, proved the same. She followed all 5 methods with discipline, and within 2 weeks, she slept through the night for the first time in 15 years. Her energy, her mood, even her sense of independence returned. What seemed like bathroom tips revealed themselves to be life strategies, teaching her that quality sleep strengthens memory, balance, immunity, and even the courage to keep living fully. So let us pause and remember the journey. Hydration by the 246 rule, timed with the rhythm of your body. Medications taken when they serve you best. A bedroom environment that cradles rest instead of stealing it. Dinners finished early enough to free your body for sleep. And a simple timer to bring them all together with consistency. These are not tricks. They are choices. And choices, when repeated with faithfulness, become transformations. Now ask yourself, what would your mornings look like if you woke not in fragments of rest, but in fullness? How much more present could you be for the people you love? How much more energy would you carry into the day? How much more alive would you feel? The truth is, it is not too late. The nights you thought were gone can be restored. The mornings you miss can return. All it takes is the courage to step into consistency and the willingness to align with what your body is quietly asking of you. Because aging is not the end of vitality. It is the beginning of a wiser kind of strength. And when you choose to honor that strength, you will find not only better sleep, but a renewed life waiting for you each morning.